Okay, let's pivot now to AI. I know AI is everywhere, right? You can't pick up a news article, you can't pick up social media without hearing about AI. Well, now I'm going to give you some knowledge on AI and how it can be used in your business. But let's start with thinking about where you're using AI today. Are you using it to create your content, to make images for your website? Are you using it to create documents for your clients? Just think about how far and wide AI is becoming in like a very short time. But do you know what AI is? Have you ever thought about it? Do you think it's magic? It's not. It's actually math. AI, that's right, is math. It's mathematical algorithms. It's logic, ones and zeros, that take in all kinds of content. It could be videos, it could be music, it could be articles you've written, it could be social media, it could be ideas. And everything just goes in as inputs into this algorithm, and the algorithm is continuously learning. It's adapting, it's learning, it's training. Many times when you're using AI, if you haven't looked at the terms of service, you'll find out that everything that you're interacting with that AI is helping the AI become smarter. Kind of like when we went to school as kids, right? We got smarter every class we took. The AI gets smarter every interaction it has. And what does it give you? Well, you know that because you're all using it. It answers your questions when you ask Google or another search engine a question. It creates images for you if it asks you to. It creates documents, videos. You can use AI to create all kinds of things. But remember where the input came from. It's not magic, it's math, and yes, it's copying. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of the biggest threats to look out for when you're using AI. Try to protect you just like I want to protect you with your IP itself. So the first is AI hallucinations. Did you know that AI doesn't always tell the truth? In fact, AI wants to please you. When you ask AI for something, it's going to do its best to give you what you're asking for. But in the process, it might not be true. That's what hallucinations are. Now, they could be just errors. Remember the training? It may have gotten some information that just isn't right. So it can give incorrect predictions. You could ask it for something and could say, yes, sure, that's what you want to know. I'll please you, and say yes. It could also give negatives. So when you're using AI, always remember you're the human. Always remember that you need to fact check things, that you can't presume that what you're receiving is the truth. If you don't believe me, I'll give you a couple of real world examples. So the first is a really well-known case for us lawyers. This New York lawyer used ChatGPT to create a brief that he actually submitted to the court. He used OpenAI's chat box to supplement his legal research. 6 of the cases were bogus. They didn't exist. So he was citing case law for cases that were made up. That is a hallucination. The AI chat was trying to give him what he asked for. Now, what's really funny is as I delved into this case, and by the way, he did get in a lot of trouble because the judge figured it out. Actually, the judge figured out, why are you citing these cases that are bogus? And then the whole story came out. But what he said in his own defense, what the lawyer said in his own defense, was that he asked ChatGPT, can I rely on this? And the answer was yes. Now, the judge obviously didn't take that so well, but just please, lawyers out there, don't be using AI to do your legal research. Put in the time that you need to. Not a good example that you want to repeat. So I'll give you another personal example. Client came to me They had a really cool invention. And she said, oh, and I did my own patent search. And many inventors will do that. They'll kind of see, is there anything out there? And she provided me with a document, and there was probably a dozen listed patents that had similar titles to her invention. So what she did was she took a summary of her invention and threw it into ChatGPT. Sorry, I'm using the same AI for both these hallucinations, but it's a very common one. So I gave that to my IP specialist, who came back the next day and said, did she use ChatGPT to do this? No kidding. That's what she asked me. And I said, I don't know. Let me ask the client. And the client said, yes, I did. Well, here's the point. Every item listed was a real patent number, but it was a made up title. The AI was giving her what she asked. What's the closest patents? Give me a list of patents close to my idea. Now, we'll talk later, but there's another piece to this that's bad, which is she put her trade secret out there into the world. But that's for another part of the conversation. AI hallucinations are real. They're not going away, and you need to be aware of them. Okay, next thing to watch out for is unknowingly infringing with AI-derived materials. If you go online and say, hey, ChatGPT, create me a business logo that's purple and green and has this mindset around it for my business that does business development, you'll get possibly a really cool image and go, great, I'm going to use this as my logo. But what you don't know, anytime you use AI-derived material, is where it came from. Remember the first slide where I talked about it's learning from everything that it's taking in? Well, it's also developing and giving you outputs from everything it took in. And that means you may be unknowingly infringing on somebody else's. And when that infringement letter comes, that accusation comes, I really don't think the person that you unknowingly copied is going to say, oh, okay, it was from AI. You, in the end, are responsible for every bit of content, material, anything that you create or that you don't create because you use AI to do it. So be cautious. So what's the risk? We talked about the risk of using others. What about the risk to your own IP? And I kind of mentioned that a minute ago when we were talking about my client, the inventor. The first is, if you actually read user agreements and terms of service, in most cases, you are agreeing when you use AI that it can train using your inputs. And I will say, especially in the last few months, I've had quite an uptick of inventors coming to me and saying, I asked AI to create an application for me for my new invention, so I'll share that with you, even though I want you to write a real one. Anytime you take your knowledge and you put it out in AI, know that you may have given those rights away. If you're using a closed system AI or something you've created, for example, my client's XX, that is a closed system. Only users' information is going into that system. Then it's private. But any other system, it's not private. There's other users that can use it. So what are good strategies that you can implement today? First and foremost, employee training. You're here watching this, you're learning a little bit. You need to train everyone in your staff. You need to have in your employee agreements, maybe a separate AI employee agreement, just like you have, I hope, an IT agreement that all of your employees need to sign, a social media agreement that all your employees need to sign. AI needs to be either a separate agreement or incorporated in. And company policies. We really haven't talked in the past about needing an AI-specific company policy. I'm predicting there's going to be a lot more of them going forward. And use private systems versus public AI models wherever you can. I'm not saying don't use AI, but use it with knowledge. And I love this quote. Entrepreneur Magazine just issued an article, and I saw this in the article, and it said nearly 100% of Gen Z knowledge workers are using AI tools today. So we're not going to, AI is not going away. We just need to do it smart. So here's the thing. We don't know where infringement battles are going to end, whether it's someone infringing on you or you infringing on someone else. Either way, with the use of AI, we actually don't know because there are a lot of cases out there. None of them have been decided. So that's going to be a stay tuned. But if you look, I just pulled one to give you an idea of both perspectives. So this particular case, a bunch of record labels got together and they've sued two companies for copyright infringement. So these are AI generated music that the record labels are saying infringes on songs or artist's voice. Now, that sounds like infringement, right? Seems straightforward. But the AI companies are saying, no, what we're doing is transformative. It's a derivative. It's not the same. We may have inputted all of these songs and music and voices, but what we're creating is something new. Now, we don't know where this is going to go because it hasn't come to trial yet. But there are many, many cases like this out there. When you don't know if you're infringing or someone's infringing and you don't know how the courts are going to look at it, I would say we need to be cautious.